much to do, so much to see. So what's wrong with taking the back streets? You'll never know if you don't go. You'll never shine if you don't glow. Hey now, you're an all-star. Get your game on, go play. Hey now, you're a rock star. Get the show on, get paid. And all that glitters is gold. Only shooting stars break the mold.
Smash Mouth All-Stars. That's what every single one of us is, that's for sure, right? Hope everybody out there's doing good. Staying radio style, doing another good show. Had a request from a viewer. Something to the effect of, when is it time to actually be active or in action versus when is it time to be more passive or kind of let things come to us? And just on a quick side, two things about that song that rock, by the way. Only shooting stars break the mold. Of course, I had to play that, but that was the last line. And then something about glitter, and glitter just makes me think of one of the ladies I used to work with, because she did a lot of crafting, and she called glitter crafting herpes, and I always thought that was one of the funniest phrases in the world. And the reason she says that is because glitter just ends up everywhere, so you'll find glitter for the rest of your life. It's that gift that keeps on giving. Anywho, yes, action and not action. So the ways that, well, one, the way I was taught way back in the day, and I still think this is a very good example of it. So we're going to take one step backwards, kind of define the terms, action, reaction, action, not action, whatever. They call it sun energy versus moon energy, and the reason they describe that is because sun energy is direct. It's heating, it's sending energy out. If you're standing under the sun, you feel it. It makes plants grow. It's a very active-oriented thing. Some like to say it's male energy, which kind of works too, because that's sort of I don't know. It's nowadays it's not even okay to get into if something's male or not male. So whatever the case is, but they call that masculine energy. And then moon energy is reflective. It's the sun reflected off a surface, so it's not necessarily the doing aspect of it as much as receiving, right? It's kind of that letting the universe present to you. And so that's why they call it sun and moon. And then, of course, moon's energy is supposed to be a little more of the feminine nature. Now, again, it's masculine and feminine. All of us have those components with us. If you're a female, you've definitely got masculine components. There's no question about it. And if you're a male, you have feminine components about you. And it's that balancing that actually makes us all unique in our own ways. So sun energy, moon energy, what are we different? Why do we have it? When is it right to use one? When is it wrong to use one? Generally speaking, don't like right and wrong anyway, but I'm just throwing these words out there for you. But when it comes to maybe examples of how these can play out, we'll talk about a couple scenarios, maybe in relation to a job. Job's kind of an easy one to sort of demonstrate these concepts, and hopefully this helps, and then I'll kind of cover it maybe from the relationship standpoint. Hopefully I can come up with a couple good examples on the fly. I was definitely thinking of some, but we'll see how this plays out. You never know. That's the joy of doing these shows. Sometimes it's just you got to take it as it comes to you. So in the sense of jobs, right? A lot of us might be looking for a better job, better career, better opportunities, maybe more income. So where the sun and energy, where the moon energy kind of comes in, well, I'm all over the place. Let me back up. Sun energy in this regard, the doing aspect, first off, when you're trying to manifest anything, right? Right off the bat, in my mind, the imaginal work is actually kind of sun energy. That is truly the doing. It's the creative aspect. You're putting energy out to universe, right? Maybe via your higher self or however you want to envision it, but you're creating the reality. You're imagining the reality. So in any case of any sort of manifestation, that initial imaginal work is sun energy. You're doing something. If you're not doing, that's more of the moon. If you're doing, that's more of the sun energy. So you imagine the kinds of work you would like to do. You imagine maybe where you would like to work. You imagine maybe the level of income that you would like to experience in this new career, this new job, whatever it is. Or maybe it's something that you've recently just gotten out of school. So now you're like, I've got my degree. I want to do this kind of work. I want to be in this type of field. So once you've made up your mind and kind of you start imagining working in that place. You imagine yourself at a cubicle, because that's frankly, a lot of us are in cube farms. That's kind of, at least that's what a lot of us call it, cube farms, when there's a bunch of cubicles and you can pop your head up. We call that prairie dogging. We got nicknames for all this stuff in the way corporate America is. But anyway, you imagine yourself in your location. Imagine maybe standing up in front of a group of people in a boardroom, right, and doing a presentation. All of that stuff is sun energy, right? So that's good. Where the moon energy comes in, or where that receiving energy, if you will, is so now that you've done all this imaginal work, you're not necessarily 100% sure what company you want to work for, right? That's one of the questions you have, like, well, where should I be trying to fill out resumes, or trying to imagine maybe bumping into somebody that can help open a door, because oftentimes it's not what you know, it's who you know, and that's very, very common in a lot of cases, actually. A lot of times things will open up because of someone you bump into. So in the case of waiting for that receptive energy, waiting for something to occur, that's going to be that idea, that person that maybe pops up in front of you that happens to work in that industry, right? So you've sent it all out. Now you're sitting back and you're kind of waiting for something to happen, to get some sort of clarification, to get a better understanding of what's my next step. Where am I supposed to go from here? That's where you're receiving. You're waiting. You're waiting. You're looking for feedback. You're looking for anything. Now, here's where it gets interesting, is the second, say, this person, for this example, they walk into wherever you're at, and they're like, oh, yeah, I happen to work in such and such a field. And you're like, wow, no way. I'm totally interested in doing that. I just got my degree, or I'm looking to get into that line of work, or what company are you with? That's what I do, and I'm actually looking to change jobs. And then they start talking. That conversation is sun energy. Now, universe has presented you with this person, with this opportunity. Now, it is up to you to initiate conversation, to try to figure out what's going on, to see if there's a place, to find out what company it is, and then to maybe go online and start filling out uploading your resume and filling out whatever position that you're applying for. That's the sun energy. Then you're kind of back to all right, I've put the energy out there, now I'm sort of waiting. Now, in the sense of a job, if you go a day or two and you haven't heard anything, I recommend, and it's a very good practice, pick up the phone, make a call down to, try to get in touch with their HR department and say, hey, I just want to let you guys know, I put in, I posted for one of your positions recently. I've uploaded my resume. Just wanted to make sure that you guys were familiar with the fact that this is, something I'm very interested in. My name's Dan, and I'd love to, have an opportunity to do this position. Again, sun energy. You're putting it out there. That is the aspect that we have control over. But at the same time, you can't just stay in sun energy all the time, because one, that can be a lot of energy to put toward, like if you're just constantly pestering the company, they're not going to like that, right? That might bother them. Or if you're constantly trying, you might miss the signs that there's something right in front of you, but you're so busy looking and putting out things and all the overdoing and all this, right? You're so busy looking everywhere else that you don't actually see the little person over here that's like, wait, I got something for you. So a mixture, without a doubt, is always a good place or good plan. So again, the doing is the sun energy, and you've got to balance that. And I will say that, and this works probably more in the relationship thing, just because that's where I get a lot of the comments, and so we'll get into that aspect. But I see a lot of situations where people get so stuck into I'm waiting for something to happen, that universe, higher self, presents them with opportunities, and they still don't react. They go, oh, yeah, there they are. I'm not going to talk to them. And that doesn't work. So we're going to get into that as an example, because there are a couple. So in relationships, again, the imaginal work, right? You're doing all this imaginal work. You're imagining being with this individual. You're imagining a life with them. You're imagining a scenario where you're going out on a date, or where you're maybe waking up next to them with your arms wrapped around them, or whatever the case is, right? Whatever your imaginal work is, you're putting that out there. And like, I'm trying to imagine this situation where me and this person get together and can talk. All right. So you've done that. Now you're going about your day or whatever. Maybe it's someone you work with. This was kind of one of the examples I got recently. And it was, I mean, for the person that may be listening, I'm not picking on you. I hope you know that because we've talked and we've had through a few emails back and forth. So I think she'll appreciate this. And she was very receptive to me bringing up this concept. But, you know, say you're at work, right? And this might be maybe someone that works on the other side of the building, or maybe they work in a different building next door, whatever the case is. But you can occasionally bump into them. And what you're really trying to manifest is a relationship with them. Maybe you don't know them that well. So you obviously got to have some conversation, right? I need to manifest a scenario where I can begin chatting with this person. Well, when you walk and you're going to work and you pop into the elevator and all of a sudden the door opens and then all of a sudden, that's so not what an elevator sounds, right? If an elevator sounded like that when it opened, I think I would freak out. It's like, ding, whoa, dude, no, this is like the danger zone, like, right? You should be hearing that song in the background. Anyway, you hop on the elevator and there's your special person, right? So if you just hop on the elevator and you've manifested your special person in front of you and you just get in the elevator and don't say anything, you've manifested this situation. Sun energy, kick in now. Start talking to this person. Hey, how are you? Weather's nice. Who cares if it's just stupid chit chat, right? But talk. Get that conversation going the second you say, hi, my name is, or hi, how are you? Everything good? Great. Where do you work? What do you do? Ask some questions because that builds a relationship. You can't have a relationship if you don't know anything about each other. And you maybe have been stalking this person visually for weeks and months, but maybe they don't really know who you are. Maybe they've seen you off in the distance, because if you're doing the imaginal work, I promise you, you have ended up in their attention somewhere. When the opportunity presents itself, you have to react. If you don't, you will get a certain number of opportunities, but eventually it's just going to look like someone who doesn't want to do anything. Now, again, yes, you could keep working on manifesting. I'm shy. I don't, that's fine. But if you're going to try to manifest something, then you can't really hide behind the shyness, right? You need to talk. You need to initiate conversation. Another great example, you might be down in the lunchroom and maybe they walk in and walk by and you can just look at them and smile. Single most important little expression, smile. It is one of the most powerful things you can do to have a conversation with someone without saying a word. Look them right in the eye, smile genuinely, huge. They will remember that. Again, there's a simple form of sun energy. So now that we've done this, now that you've had that discussion, now you can actually manifest sun energy, if you will, another scenario, another situation where you can pop up together. Maybe one of these days, hey, maybe we could go get lunch sometime. I'd love to hear all about this new project you're working on. That'd be awesome. Let's do that. So you start to try to manifest those sorts of scenarios. And then when the opportunity presents itself, you've got to jump on it. You've got to do it. So the imaginal work is sun energy, yes. And then we kind of sit back and you're waiting for signs. You're waiting for coincidences. You're waiting for something to kind of, what's my next step? What's my next step? Boom, there it is. Act. You've got to act when it shows itself. That's how you know. If that coincidence that you've been trying to manifest shows up, now it's time to act. So how do I know when I should be passive, when I should be aggressive, right? How do I know when I should be sun energy, when I should be moon energy? Sun energy is creative. Sun energy helps us grow. And then the nighttime's beautiful because everything needs to rest. Everything needs to rest. If you put 24 hours of sunlight on a plant, it begins to stress it at some point. I know it will grow quicker, but it still requires some dark time. It requires a little downtime. It does different processes when the sun's not shining. All of us need that balance, but you have to be aware of the opportunities that we're trying to manifest for ourselves. We have to be aware of what is coming to us, and are we doing anything about it once it's there? Sitting back and letting universe show is huge, and I recommend it again. There is beauty in both of these aspects, and again, it's that yin and yang. It's that balance that exists in all of us and all of nature. So we have to be paying attention to what we're trying to manifest, and then when it's presented itself to us, get out of your little shy hole or wherever you're at, right? You got to get out of that. You got to step out and try to make an effort. Just say hi. Start a conversation. I had one case of, unfortunately, the same situation, but the big question, this person's been working together for a very long time, and their big question, this is so annoying me, my glasses and my hat. I had to do the hat thing like this because I had like a shadow over my face, right? It was like this, and you couldn't see me. So anyway, I don't normally wear hats backwards. It's been years. But anywho, this individual had been working with this gentleman for quite a long time. She'd been admiring him from far, right? And she's finally kind of gotten to the place where they sort of bump into each other on a regular basis. She still hasn't really asked him a lot of questions, and it's part of its cultural for her. It's kind of more of a culture where you don't generally do that, especially if you're a woman. You're not as outgoing or forthcoming, right? You're more of a, proper and all that stuff or whatever. But my question really back to her was, have you asked him if he's in a relationship? Have you asked anything? Because those are simple questions that kind of, in my mind, like I'm a talker, I'm a social person. So from my standpoint, it's hard to understand when you haven't tried to initiate some sort of conversation. If you've got a question that needs an answer, you need to sometimes initiate that conversation. I've been in the situations before with my, significant person too, where I needed an answer. And sometimes you can manifest that in a number of ways, and you can manifest it through action from them. And if that action doesn't occur, well, there might kind of be a time, one of those situations where maybe you need to back away again. So again, if you're not sure about something, try to find out. Initiate that conversation. And if it seems hard to initiate that conversation, then use sun energy to manifest a situation where maybe they bump into you and ask you a question, and now you're talking. So again, you do the sun energy is always imaginal. I think that's key, obviously. That's a big, Neville Goddard, imagine from, right? Imagine the situation and create it. And then kind of let universe guide and bring it to you. And then once it's in front of you, need to be sun energy again. We need to get back into the doing aspect of it. Hopefully this helps. Hopefully this makes a difference. I mean, I could probably talk on this longer, but I think I just keep circling back around on the same general concepts over and over. But there are times when it's time for action, and we need to do something that's huge, especially when we're working so hard to create these scenarios where we can actually do something. Hopefully this makes a difference. Like I said, going to be going out with a song I've actually played before, but it's just such an amazing song. It's by a guy named Matthew West, and the song's called Do Something. It's Dan Radio Style.